How do you do, y'all? This is John, and today we are talking about Alien 3, a movie released back in 1992, and I guess directed by David Fincher. And in Alien 3, it deals with Ripley, who has crash landed on this prison planet. As one would guess, the aliens, the xenomorphs, have gone onto this planet as well. So now Ripley and these prisoners are trying to figure out a way to kill this alien, and they have this really horrible situation of not having any weapons on them. Okay, so to get things started, first and foremost, what I liked about the movie, I am going to be honest here, the actual idea of this movie is not bad. One of the things that benefited Aliens is that it did something different. It did not rinse, wash, and repeat the first movie all over again. And honestly, they actually did this as well with Alien 3. There is hardly anything in this film that directly resembles the first two movies. Heck, the xenomorph isn't even birthed from a human. It is birthed from an animal, a different animal, depending on which version of the movie you watch. You watch the theatrical cut, it's a dog. You watch the assembly cut, it's an ox. I also like how this basically concludes Ellen Ripley's arc. Because Ellen Ripley in the first two movies, she was taking names, kicking butt, just being awesome, and with this one, because of certain reasons, she's actually kind of sickly, but she doesn't let that affect her performance at all. And very early on, you get the notion that this is probably the last movie you will see Ellen Ripley in. And here's one thing I'd like to mention real quick. Elliot Goldenthal's musical score is amazing. This is the only movie that I know of that he scored. I would not be surprised if he scored many other movies and I just simply have not seen them. But Elliot Goldenthal's music is just amazing. There's this one track in particular that is just so iconic that they have reused in some of the other Alien ads, including this one for a couple of the Alien DVDs that I got. However, when it comes to the theatrical cut, there are some stuff in it that is just bad. And it's stuff that is fixed in the assembly cut. For those of you who don't know, there are two different versions of Alien 3. There's the theatrical cut, which is incredibly flawed. And then there's the assembly cut, which is much better but still flawed. There are several plot holes and characters that go missing in the theatrical cut. Then the assembly cut are completely fixed. Like Gallic, what happens to Gallic? Well, in the theatrical cut, you wouldn't know because he just disappears. In the assembly cut, you know exactly what happened to him. And there are a few other characters who just disappear, and you're just sitting there going, what happened to them? Not only that, but I just think that the alien being birthed from an ox instead of a dog is much more intimidating. It is much more intimidating than being birthed from a dog. And I also like the ending better. I'm not going to get into any spoilers with it. I think that the ending for the assembly cut is much more impactful than the ending of the theatrical cut. Both versions, however, still have at least some of the same problems. For instance, the special effects are the worst in the series. They are abysmally bad, and that's sad because, at least at the time, this was the most expensive Alien movie ever made. They spent $50 million making this movie. and it just does not show at all. The special effects for the alien in particular are also pretty jarring. When they're using the traditional guy in a suit or an animatronic, it looks great. I'm not gonna lie. It looks great. But when they use the rod puppet in front of a blue screen, it is badly composed into the shot. I'm not kidding. It looks awful. A lot of people think it's CGI, but it's not. It's a rod puppet in front of a blue screen. Sometimes characters also contradict themselves as well. There's one particular moment where this guy who's like the leader of this religious group among the prisoners, he looks at Ripley and goes, "Hey, you're an officer. Why don't you take charge?" And then not even 5 minutes later, he's in there going, "Why should we risk our lives for you?" There are a handful of moments like that. And it's not good. All in all, my final thoughts on Alien 3 is that Alien 3, it's not bad. The theatrical cut is incredibly flawed. It's more of an okay movie than anything else. But the assembly cut, that version is much better. I do understand that it's not a true director's cut because David Fincher has completely disowned this movie because he just wasn't allowed to get his true vision in. So really, it's not a true director's cut. The assembly cut is definitely much better than the theatrical cut, and I would like to see what David Fincher would do with at least the footage shot in 1991. I understand in order to get his true vision, they'd have to completely remake the movie, which I don't think any of them want to do. But I would be interested in a Fincher cut of Alien 3. But as it stands, it's not a bad movie as it is. Special effects are unfortunately awful, and characters contradict themselves. Depending on which version you watch, there are some editing issues. All in all, Alien 3 is not a bad movie. I'm going to grade Alien 3 like this. I'm going to give the theatrical cut of Alien 3 a 6. The assembly cut, I am going to give an 8. Their version is as good as the original Alien. But I do not think that Alien 3 is a bad movie. Unlike the next one I'm going to be stuck watching. But I'll get to that to you guys next week. That's all the time I have for today. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember, the Bodetsky way.